Hey goal diggers, Kimberly Olson back here for another episode of #GetLit, where we crush your business in less than 10 minutes. Today, we're going to talk about how I transformed into having a millionaire mindset, because listen, it was a mindset shift for me. That's all it was. It wasn't my ability. It wasn't the value I had to offer or even work ethic. Okay. There was some major shifts I made mentally. And if you're like, gosh, I want this year to be different. I want to be able to really transform my wealth and my finances and just the way I look at money, you've got to stay tuned for this episode. All right, so we're going to talk about how to have a millionaire mindset. And I got to tell you, my first full year in my business, I made $250,000, which is a lot of money, right? Like, wow, that's amazing. Didn't have any at the end of the year. So I was like, well, obviously I'm doing something wrong. And I had a lot of limiting beliefs around money. I had a lot of, things I had grown up with, that money, there wasn't enough money, right? Have you ever heard, money doesn't grow on trees? What we did is we would go to the store and pick out like 3 shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, and a new pair of shoes and put them in layaway for a few months. I mean, we were on reduced lunch. We just didn't, everyone has obviously their stories, but we just did not have money. It was like my mom sacrificed so much for us. She was a single parent. And I grew up thinking that there was never enough money. Okay. Just ingrained in who I was. So then I go on to, college and get my first credit card, right? Rack up money on there and just don't have any good skill sets when it comes to money. Like no one taught me, this is how you budget. This is how you balance a checkbook or any of that stuff. And I really struggled. I really did. I racked up a lot of debt. I would pay it off and then something else would come into play. I'd buy a new car and have this huge car loan. Can anyone relate to that? Where you're just like, gosh, it's just insane. And when I saw that number of how much money I'd made in my business, I was like, of course I had expenses, but there was plenty of money left over where I should have had well over 100 grand in the bank, and I didn't. And it really dawned on me, man, I've got some issues to deal with here with the money mindset. So I dug in, and this is what I want to share with you what I did. First off, I identified those limiting beliefs that I did have that I kept repeating, such as money doesn't grow on trees. My story was I was bad at money. I was bad at managing money. That was definitely my story. Wasn't a good steward of my money. Money would burn a hole in my pocket. I would spend money kind of compulsively. That was, again, the story I was telling myself. It was very sometimes I felt like, I had all this money and I would just spend it. And then other times I'm like, I don't have any money. Like it was just this really up and down, up and down. So I started identifying those repeated thoughts like, I'm not good at managing money. Second thing was, so for you need to write this down, figure out what your limiting beliefs are. Are there stories that you've been carrying around for a really long time? Sometimes it could even be like, my husband makes all the money, or I don't have what it takes. I'm not smart enough to make a lot of money. The second thing I did is I reframed or squashed any stories I was telling myself. And this was very hard to do because those thoughts are so repetitive, aren't they? And so anytime a thought would come into my mind, such as, oh gosh, you don't have enough money. And it's still something I'll notice I'll struggle, especially when a lot of money goes out at once. We're at the time of this recording, it's the end of the year. So I like taxes, I'm writing stuff off like a crazy person. So there's a lot of money going out right now. And part of me is like, right? Like, oh no. Do you ever feel like this? Oh no, it's all going to be gone next month. Or what if you're network marketing, what if my whole team quits? Or what if something happens with the company? Like these kind of just very morbid, extreme thoughts. I've learned to redirect myself, and I'm a work in progress, but the thoughts are, no, that's not true. Money is abundant. Money flows abundantly to me and through me. Look at all the money I've made in my life. Push comes to shove, I will be able to go out and make more money. Look at the audience I've built, the value I've put out there, the loyalty I've created with my following and people like you that watch my content and participate in my programs. There's always going to be more students that want my help. That's not going to go away. And I can figure it out, right? Everything's figure outable. I'm resourceful and we will be okay. And that's the biggest thing. I think that we have this fear, like someone's going to show up and take our house or something. Like we get really extreme with our thoughts. So we have to squash those and redirect those and tell ourselves a new story. The next thing I did is I started saying, why not me? And this is a big one. Why can't I be a millionaire? I would look at people and I'm like, gosh, they're a millionaire. It's so like, how did they do that? There must be something that they do that I don't know. What are they doing that I'm not doing? Or they must have that special sauce I don't have. Or, they know more about like Facebook ads and sales funnels and all that back end stuff that I didn't know how to do. Gosh, I put them on this pedestal and removed from me. And I'm doing NLP certification right now, master practitioner training. And I'm learning a lot about how we associate with things. And I was associating them away from me. That's not me in that story. So I had to start to say, well, why not me? If money's abundant and people have liked my stuff so far, why can't I create $1 million? Like, it's just energy. It's just energy. It's just belief. It's staying focused and figuring out, obviously, my space and my niche and what I have to offer and bring to the market. And that's it. So I literally started saying, why not me? And I wrote that check for $1 million because I was telling myself, why not me? I could do this. I can absolutely become a millionaire. And I want to show other women that it's possible. And that freaking lights me up. You have no idea, okay? Why not you? Start telling yourself that, okay? The next thing I did is I got aligned. Now, what this means is we are either below the line or above the line, okay? Aligned. Aligned is when you're up here. All the things you want are above the line, okay? So down here is where we start to doubt. Someone says something mean to us. Maybe someone on our team's like, you're not a good leader. Or our upline's like, how come you're not working more? Or our husband's like, you're always in your office. Your kids are like driving you crazy, right? So this all happens to us and we get down here, we're not aligned. What we want is up here, especially if it's a big goal, financial freedom, to become a millionaire, all that good stuff. It's up here, okay? So if you're down here energetically, you're not going to attract it. So what I started doing as soon as I would drop below the line, especially I went through some really hard stuff this year where I had some girl who would go live and talk about how horrible I was. I mean, just an awful person, but she would sit there and go live. I mean, who does that? Best friends that I had friendships I'd made turn their back on me completely without even a conversation. I mean, I had some hard stuff happen this year, and that's going to make you question yourself, right? And get below the line. I had to say to myself, my heart was pure. My intentions were good. God's doing some housekeeping and I'm going to bless and release. And if I needed to apologize for something, I did, but I got right back in to that good state, that good vibration, right? Feeling good. And I've always struggled with depression, anxiety my whole life, and I'm aware of it now. So as soon as I feel that, I will hop on the phone with Michelle Thompson, who's my therapist on speed dial. I will call a friend. Sometimes I'll just get in the car and drive and tell my husband, I just need to get out of the house and get out of the office, just get out. Or I will just sleep. I'll go take a nap. I'm like, I am not productive right now. This isn't energetically going to track what I want. I just need to take a break. And sometimes I'll just say, you know what? I'm not feeling it right now. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. And I will do that. I will table things until the next day. And it's amazing. Every time I give myself permission to move through that discomfort of the anxiety and depression that it's pretty much in check, but it rears its ugly head, I'm able to get back on track right away. It doesn't destroy me. It doesn't leave me in my room for, days or weeks on end like in the past, or with alcohol, right? I don't drink anymore. That's what I used to do. Okay, well, I'll just drink. And then what am I doing? I'm not doing anything productive with that, right? So get aligned. Next thing is redirected my thoughts that weren't serving me. As soon as a thought came that wasn't serving me, and still I redirect it. So let's say I start doubting myself, or I'm like, I shouldn't go live about that. I'll say, that's not a good thought. That's not serving me. I'm going to let that move on. And I'm going to go back to what I know, which is I know that this idea came to me for a reason. It's divine, and I'm going to be obedient because God is working through me and wants me to go live, for example. And the last thing I did, and this is so important, I followed guided inspiration, intuition, divinity, whatever you want to call it. I am very in tuned, okay? And I'm not saying that to brag. It's taken a long time to get here. I did have to clear out the destruction in my life, such as the alcohol, because for me, it was not a social thing or, have one. It was very destructive. And it created these horrible thoughts about myself. My value was destroyed, my self-worth, all of it was so bad. Cleared that out. And I could hear more. And as I became obedient, the voices, but those ideas, those thoughts, those divine downloads got louder and clear, to the point now I literally run my business off of guided inspiration. Poor Anna, because I'm like, hey, we gotta do this. She's like, what? So that's how I roll. And it has been so freeing because I have comfort and strength and faith that God's got my back. He wants to use me. in amazing ways to love and be the light for others. And I'm just going to keep doing that. It's just going to get better and better. And you can too. Okay. So that's what I have for you on how to transform your mind into a millionaire mindset. I want y'all to really crush it financially. I really do. So think about these things. Ask yourself if you're doing them. If not, implement and stay the course. All right. I hope you love this. Please share this, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button on this page so you never miss an episode. Throw this in your stories and tag me at the Goal Digger Girl, GOAL, and I'll give you a Goal Digger shout out. Thanks for watching. Until next time, get lit in your business and set your soul on fire. We'll see you later.